Good morning. Katie and I have been traveling to Israel for about 2 decades now, and over the years we have picked up some items that have collector value. We're not collectors, but we do have some items. And today I want to show you a couple of items that we've gotten that are quite interesting. I'll begin with this. It is a handle to a pitcher or a jar. A former student of mine who has a hedge fund in New York arranged with Doron Spielman from the City of David Foundation for Katie and I to have a tour of the City of David. And it just so happened, this was in 2006, that we went over there and they were not open that day. The only people who were there were the archaeologists. And I told the people at the City of David that it was the only time we could visit the City of David while we were in Israel that year, 2006. And so the woman in charge there called Doron Spielman, and he said, open the city up to them and let them have it themselves. So here we are, Katie and me. We're in the City of David moving about, and the only other people there are archaeologists. And as we were moving through one area, one of the archaeologists stopped working and asked if we would like a memento, and we said sure. So he gave it to us. This is it. I'm going to get a little closer so you can see it more clearly. Hopefully the camera is zeroing in on it. When he gave it to us, the archaeologist said that this item is about 3,000 years old. It dates back to around 1000 BC. And we were, of course, happy to get it. And we go to the City of David every couple of years anyway, because they're always working and always finding new things. So if you go this year, you can go back next year and you'll see new stuff. Anyway, on a later visit, we were walking through the area where the archaeologists had given us this memento, and they had just unearthed information that led them to believe that it was David's palace. So the archaeologists today believe that this item came from the area in the City of David that is now known to be the David's palace. You know, it's a broken handle to a pitcher, and you say, well, what kind of value could that have? Well, if you go to Israel, be sure to go to the Rockefeller Museum. It's right across the street from the old city. And when you go through the Rockefeller Museum, you'll see pieces like this, only in worse shape than this, on display behind glass in the Rockefeller Museum. So this does have value. I don't know how much value. I'll never sell it, so it doesn't matter to me. But anyway, 3,000 years old from David's palace. We keep that in a place where we can easily show it to our guests. And like in Israel, there are very few things in Israel they won't let you touch. And that's true of this too. If someone wants to see this and touch it, they're welcome to do it. We picked up this piece last year. It's a Jewish coin. I'll show it to you. Now this may be hard for you to see, but I'm going to get very close and hopefully you'll be able to see it. Can you see that? I'll turn it over. This coin was in circulation in Israel between 40 AD and 70 AD. Now you remember that the Romans destroyed the temple in 70 AD. So this coin was in circulation in Israel, in Jerusalem, before the temple was destroyed in 70 AD. When Romans occupied a territory, they allowed the countries to have their own currency. And so this would be the country currency. They also had Roman currency, so you had both. These are rarer items than the Roman coins because there were a lot of Roman coins. There are a few of these. Now, an interesting little bit of information. This coin was in circulation between 40 AD and 70 AD. The way money flows is quite interesting. This coin probably made its way through the temple several times. You know, people would either be making a donation or paying a tax or something. And so they'd go to the temple and use this coin. And, of course, the people who ran the temple had to pay for maintenance and other things. And so many times this coin was used to pay out as payment for work that was done for the people at the temple. So over years of time, this coin circulated, and it probably went through the temple several times. I'm just guessing, but it makes a lot of sense. That's what happens with money. And it was probably in many people's hands. And it may have been in the hands of people whose names you know. It very likely could have been. Who knows, maybe Matthew or Mark or John handled this coin. Over the years, like I said, we've accumulated a number of items that have some value, monetary value for sure, but that doesn't matter to us. They have value to us that's beyond money. These items tell us about the nation Israel long before there was a nation of Palestine. There is no nation of Palestine. Never has been. And Palestinians today are doing their best to lead people to believe that the nation Israel never existed, that Yahweh's temple never existed. Well, all the evidence suggests that that's a lie. We can point to the Bible and say, here is evidence, but a lot of people don't want to look at the Bible as evidence. So you look at archaeological evidence, and there's a lot of it. These are two pieces of evidence that prove the nation Israel existed as far back as 1000 BC and 70 AD. It's important for us right now to be prayerful about Israel because they're coming under attack. Anti-Semitism is poking up its ugly head again, and it needs to be dealt with. It's our job to tell the truth, and that's what we're doing. Thank you for joining me.